I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at instory@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them
to buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. This is the, which alliance is this?
Shout out to our alliances. Shout out to our patrons. Thank you guys for all of your, continued partnership. What we got going on over here. Our alliances choose the songs that we listen to on streams throughout our monthly board. If you check up on Patreon, even if you're not a patron, you can gain access to that list, and it will tell you when our upcoming streams are. Tonight
we've got a movie watch along surprise planned for our patrons. That's coming up pretty soon. So be on the lookout for that, you wonderful people.
We also have some other live streams going on this week that you may be interested in knowing what they are. Some directors coming up.
Oh, that's right. We got some directors in this bitch. That's right.
We have 4 alliances up tonight. It's A99, Sin and Glory, True Cult, and Extreme Underground.
Wow, these guys are really working together.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
So we have Anarchy 99 up first, whose leader is Negative Vibes. Nubya Garcia, the
Negative
Seer.
Vibes is like one of the most positive people on the channel. It's just so weird, like Negative Vibes.
Or so it seems.
But he's like, he's always like positive and
happy.
happy.
Yeah, but maybe it's them saying they don't like negative vibes.
They don't like negative vibes.
Yeah,
I got you.
So they're like, you all with your negative vibes, because you're on YouTube. There's a lot of negative vibes there, I think.
So
in the comment sections,
there are 2 errors in the first 3 comments.
Do you guys like my Mickey pants?
2 errors in the first 4 errors.
Oh, Luminous Night! Hi.
4 errors in the first 4 comments. There are 3 errors in the first 4 comments.
Lies.
Okay, so Richard was actually first.
Shout out to Richard.
But then Ben claimed first for himself. Ben, you were second. Then Luminous claimed second for himself.
Going off of Ben's first.
You were third. Arturo says he was also first.
Also first.
He's fourth.
That's a lot of firsts.
Got 3 errors in 4 posts. We continue.
All right, you guys. Nubya Garcia, the Seer, is up first. This apparently is an instrumental. So kick back and relax. There's going to be no lyrics to break down. Vinny, I hope you don't lose yourself.
Is there a like a little description of the band, like a little summary of what they do, what they're about?
All they said was this. For this poll, I wanted to challenge my fellow anarchists to explore some of the newer developments in jazz music. So I made a modern jazz poll. The rule was nothing older than 2010 and no jazz standards, i.e. newer recordings of older compositions. The winner, submitted by SGS, was a marvelous track from the British saxophone player Nubya Garcia, titled Seer, from her brand new album, shout out to the ladies, released September of 2024. Odyssey. This one's instrumental, but does a great job of exemplifying some of the newer musical territory that jazz music has evolved into over the decades.
All right.
So let's check it out.
Let's do it. Shout out to E-Fog. This is Nubya.
Hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
Nubya Garcia, the Seer.
Oh,
this
Nubya.
is really interesting.
Okay.
Well, I'm saying Nubya. It could be Nubya. But Nubya usually has a, what do you call it?
Isn't there like Nubis something like, that's where I got it from.
Well, Anubis is a god in Egypt. Nubia is it's an African territory.
Okay, so I understand why you went the direction you did. And
Yeah.
I also understand why I went the
You
direction
hear somebody
I
say
did.
Nubian, it's another word for Africa. All right, let's do it. Nubya Garcia, the Seer, let's go. Okay, one thing. I need somebody either off the top of their head or Wikipedia, I don't know. Somebody get me the definition of jazz. What is the distinctive what is
makes
the
up jazz?
distinctive of jazz music that makes it jazz? For some reason I used to walk around with the idea that jazz was like supposed to be chaotic and not have scales and break rules and stuff, but I don't know where I got that idea from. So anyway, I'm going to rewind this and somebody get me the info relative to jazz. Like, and I'm black, I'm supposed to know it, but I don't. Anyway, we're going right back into it. Let's go. Yes,
Yeah.
I loved that. The only thing for me is they named the artist. So does that mean that the artist was doing all the instruments?
Well, I wondered the same thing.
That might be a dumb question.
Well,
but
when I looked it up, it only lists her as the artist. I clicked on artists. She's a musician, so I think
does that mean she did the whole thing by herself?
It looks like she does it all, but I don't know if it's, you know what I mean? Like you don't know if it's like does she generate it through the computer? Does she play all the instruments? I don't know, and I'm not seeing like. Maybe you guys can help us out, people who picked this.
Well, yeah, they're gonna know.
Oh, look at here. You go. A British jazz musician, saxophonist, composer, and band leader.
So she
there
did
must
all
be-
of it.
But band leader means there's other people in the band, right?
Well, she's the band leader, but she does all the instruments, so she's just basically telling all the people. Like, if she has to do it live, it looks like she just says, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this. But when it's recording, it looks like she's doing all of it. I don't know.
So she plays all those instruments?
I mean, I don't know. There
But you would think that
there
it would
are
say
people, there are
drummer
people,
and all
whoever
that, right?
requested this, somebody, hear us. Is she doing all this by herself, or does she have a band with her? Like, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I would assume she has a band with her because she's called the band leader, but she's the composer, so I think she decides what's going to happen, and she's the one that probably maybe directs it. Plus, she's the saxophonist.
Okay,
I
so
love
our channel
jazz.
says, often the band leader is who the group is named for, but there are several other players. Or she mixed it or whatever. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense to a degree. It's weird, like, I grew up, I actually, now that I'm listening to this, like, I heard jazz before I even heard rap. Because there would always be, now I realize it, there would always be jazz in the background of, like, Sesame Street.
Yes.
When they're, like, teaching you something on Sesame Street, it was always jazz in the background. So, like,
There was jazz there.
it brings me back to that kind of memory because I had just come to this country from Jamaica, and we had just started, because we didn't go to school immediately when we came here. Mm-hmm. Partly because in Jamaica you start school at like 3, and it's not like preschool. It's like I remember doing multiplication at 3 years old. So, like, when we came here to America, they were having a hard time like figuring out where to put us, because like I went to the kindergarten, but the kindergarten was like,
Ma'am, your son is, he's coming into 10th
was
grade
shapes.
level and he's 6.
It was shapes and all this, right? And then they
Yeah.
brought us inside. Now I realize they brought me into the guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor had these like faces, like, are you happy, are you sad, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, which face matches you and all this. Now I realize what was happening. I didn't know at the time. I'm like, what are these people doing? Like, this is what, because they don't do that. They don't care about your feelings in Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? They don't care.
Gosh.
Like, there's a lot of corporal punishment in Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I didn't know what the hell was going on. But yeah, like hearing jazz brings me back to that time, and it's a very interesting time because now I realize what they were doing. Like, I think they realized some depression, sadness, homesickness, whatever you want to call it. They recognized that I was conflicted because my mom was in America, my dad was in Jamaica. And God bless my mother, but she essentially kidnapped us. And like, we didn't get, there was no closure for anything. And so I think they were wise to do that, like to check out what was going on with me, but I didn't know what was going on with me at the time. I didn't get it. You
didn't really figure out some of it until really recently.
Recently, right. I mean, the channel really helps you kind of like explore your, your mind and your subconscious or whatever. But yeah, I didn't know. But now looking back, I was like, oh shit, I've been struggling with this since,
Hunter, it was like a bunch of faces on a list to see like how are you feeling, from sad, angry, happy, all these different emotions. Basically emotions, through little drawings. Like when you go to the doctors and they want to know how much pain you're in, that sort of thing. So they were trying to figure out where he was at.
Yeah, like psychologically. It was you know what I'm saying? Like, then I realized, like, all through school, I always had some sort of counseling or whatever, psychologist or whatever. Like, it's weird. Like, my mom knew, like, this is not an optimal situation. You know what I'm saying? As far as the music goes, like, what I love about I've got ADD, right? And so like there's some people like who can multitask, right? Like you can multitask. It's difficult for you, but you
I
can.
hate multitasking.
And there are other people who have to multitask.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in that category. Like I have to multitask. There's got to be more than one thing going on at the same time with me.
When you say have to,
I get extremely fidgety.
so you get agitated if you're not multitasking.
If my senses aren't maxed, or if my mind isn't maxed, I get extremely fidgety. So like,
oh my gosh.
so I'm playing Fortnite, that engages a lot of my mind, but there's a whole bunch of shit that's not, and so I got to listen to something while that's happening, and
Okay.
I'm following what I'm hearing while I'm playing Fortnite and all
You know
that.
what? This makes a lot of sense because I never really realized like why do I always feel like I'm like overstimulated to the max? But it's because you have that mentality and I'm on the opposite side where I don't want a bunch of I want to do like one thing, maybe two things at a time, like not a whole lot. I don't want a bunch of
Right.
So I always feel overstimulated, which is why now when I get time alone, I don't listen to anything. Which is not how I used to be. I
Yeah.
used to get time alone and listen to stuff. Now I get time alone and I'm like, don't put anything on. I'm just like
Right. Right. Yeah.
silence.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm overstimulated and,
real.
you're understimulated.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So jazz,
we
it's like
gotta figure something out.
it's like the drummer's over here doing this. It's like the drummer's doing his own thing. The guitarist is doing his own thing. The sax guy's doing his own thing. The key guy's doing his own thing. Everybody's doing their own thing. Somehow it all works. Some of the shit sounds really random. But I love it because I'm like, oh, there's so many things to like pay attention to at the same time. Because you know, in metal, it's kind of like linear. It's like one, like, you know what I'm saying? Like most music, I say 90% of music I listen to, whether it's rap or whatever, it's just linear. It's just A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
But jazz is kind of like, well, we're at B. Let's hang out in B for a second. Oh shit,
Yeah.
let's go back to A. Wow, like, yeah. That, I really like that.
See, it's interesting because
Oh
when
shit,
I would
live
hear-
jazz is awesome because usually the solos are completely improvised.
Oh no, kidding.
So like you're planning on hearing what you've heard on the record, and
Yeah.
then guy comes in and does something completely different. That's insane. Go ahead.
Yeah, Arturo, my best song of the year. Remember when he had us listen to that silent one?
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I think for me, when we would watch Sesame Street and the jazz parts would come on, or it would be like sort of in the background, the jazz always made me feel sort of sad.
Really?
Yeah, because
Interesting.
I liked the puppets, the voices of the puppets, and the happy way that they were trying to teach you. So that always, I think, helped me with my like sad or low feelings. Like, I don't know, something about those puppets always made me feel happy.
So you were sad as a kid too, or when you were younger?
Yeah,
I'd have been your friend.
I think you would have.
I'd have been your friend. Your parents wouldn't have let it happen.
That's what I was thinking. I just wasn't going to announce it.
I wouldn't have. Shout out!
Is you'd have been cursing or anything? Did you curse back then?
No, I wasn't cursing back then.
You just had a lot of energy. Anyway,
We were just doing fight. We would just fight. You know what I'm saying? I was doing like karate hours a day, my own karate. Like, my mom didn't think to put me into an actual school until much later. But like,
if
when I
my
was,
father would have seen you doing all of that energetic, not slow down, he actually would have thought it was cute though.
oh yeah,
Yeah, as
Yeah.
long as it wasn't his kids doing it.
I never got tired. I never got tired running, fighting, never.
That's like Reza.
Yeah, it's
Except
exactly
when,
like
but though
Rachel.
when he goes to bed, he's like, boom. Anyway, so when I heard jazz, like that sort of, like I have that sort of like sad, like jazz kind of has this like you picture like this sort of smoky bar with like,
Yeah.
but a big area, not just a bar, but like a bigger area, reddish coloring, pretty dresses, like people are hanging around with those long cigarettes. Remember the stuff like that. It has that sort of, and it also has a falling in love sort of sound to it, I think. This one sounded more like there was some parts that were like faster, like sort of like aggressive jazz, it felt like to me. And then there was other parts that were like kind of laid back, kick back. I do like jazz. I think I would definitely go to a jazz. I don't know what types of things that they do? Is it just a jazz bar? Like everybody goes in there, there's somebody playing, and
Well,
you
I'm
just have some
sure.
drinks?
I'm sure now that we're not living in Siberia, that we're going to be able to check out some pretty good jazz content. We'll find a nice little jazz bar and go for it. Maybe we could even try out some of our new material. We'll try our new material at these jazz bars over here before we send it to the people. Boo!
Yeah, I like jazz. I like the feel of it. That sort of chill environment. So I'm a little surprised that you like it, because to me, jazz is, there's not a lot going on. There's no fights breaking out in there. You know, like it's got this sort of chill sound to it.
But there's everybody's doing their own thing. Like, if you listen to it, the drummer's over here, you got guys over here, the sax is over here.
Yeah.
Then there's some like random keys in there that don't do it on a regular count. Like, there's a lot of things that's like off.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like an asymmetrical, that makes a lot of sense. I knew a guy, and his entire career was about doing things asymmetrically, and he was a giant jazz fan.
Really?
Now that makes a lot of sense.
Wow. Okay.
That makes a lot of sense now, because homie was, I see. All right, I'm gonna give this one a 9.6. Like, I think I need to hear more jazz to start buying music on my own. You know what I'm saying? Or listening to music on my own. Like, I need to know, like, I'm gonna try to play Fortnite with some jazz, see what happens. Or maybe let the kids listen to some jazz. Like, you know how they do Baby Geniuses or whatever? Like, I wonder if we had them, you know what I mean? I don't know. There's a lot of things. But yeah, the audience is subdued, interspersed with clapping. Yeah, it's not really a hype type of thing. All right, I give this a 9.5. Would you give it?
I'll give it a 9.3.
I really enjoyed it. What was the big thing that stuck out to you on that thing? The drums was the big thing that stuck out to me.
Well, I guess I've always, whenever I hear jazz, it always sounds like the same song being played. And so it's like little variations of the same song. But this one felt like it was a little bit like progressive jazz. Like, it felt like it changed a couple times. Like I said, there was the aggressive, and then I felt like there was like that regular chill jazz. I just felt like there was like a lot being communicated through the music. Maybe different types of emotions. I'm not really sure. Like, I would like it. I know it's an instrumental, but it would be cool if bands, when they made an instrumental, if they're not going to put any lyrics in there, like, let us know what was going on with you when you created it. So yeah, that would be cool. But I definitely liked it. So yeah, what about you?
Oh, I mean, I gave it a 9.3. So. Or 9.5. Pretty
What's
sure I
up, Revo?
Even then, I loved it. I genuinely, it's making me curious to look at another whole genre of music that I've kind of like been having a satellite like relationship
with. That's
but
interesting,
not.
because you might end up adding elements to that.
When I used to read about Korn, they used to say things like jazz, funk, metal, blah, blah, blah. I had no idea what the reference point was. I didn't understand what they were saying. But I can kind of see that with Korn too, where Fieldy's doing something, David is doing something. They're not supposed to work, but it works. So that's kind of jazzy, I guess. But it's not like this. Like, Korn isn't like this. Korn is, even, especially like early Korn, they were all over the place, but it was still kind of linear. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just very interesting looking at all this stuff. Shout out to Revo. Okay, guys, commercial break. We will be back with another amazing joint to listen to.
We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Gone. See you on the break. Hunter, if the Israelis, the people who are calling themselves Israelis, are still under the covenants, then that would mean that God would be duty bound to destroy them. If you read the end of Deuteronomy 28, it talks about them being disobedient, and then God ends it by saying, just as it pleased the Lord to bring you into the land, so it will please the Lord to ruin and destroy you. So if they're still under that covenant, then God is going to destroy them. I hope they're not under that covenant, so God can show them mercy. So that's what I would say. We'll see you guys on the other side of the break. Commercial break. We'll be right back. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. Y'all shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We just got done listening to Jazz. Okay,
we are right about the name. Too,
we are the most diverse channel on the internet, dear listener. We are eclectic. We are the you put eclectic in ChatGPT.
These two faces are
and out pops Vin and Sorry doing one of these things.
Well, they don't do pictures in ChatGPT yet.
They will on the
update. Will, and when they do, you'll see. All right, up next is Sin and Glory.
Sin and Glory.
Sin and Glory.
Sin and Glory.
This is Neil is the leader of this said group. Why do they say said group?
I don't know.
Just all right. The winner is Health X Poppy Dead Flowers. Sounds nice. If you wouldn't mind giving me the timestamp, I'm going to read this, but just keep the timestamp in your head.
Do 34:30.
Keep in your head, but what'd you say?
34:30. Misery Biz is the leader of that
Misery Biz. Some additional comments I wanted to make is in regards to this album the song is featured on. Disco 4 is a collaborative album where Health had several different artists and bands write songs with them. The variety of styles these guest guitarists came from. Please, you read.
Oh, God. Where are we at?
Just right here. Start there.
Disco 4 is a collaboration album where Health had several different artists and bands write songs with them. The varieties of styles these guest artists come from include metal bands like Lamb of God, The Body, hip-hop and rap, Backwash, Ghostmane, electronic, Perturbator, that's one of my favorite bands, 100 Gex, and Pop, The Neighborhood. The songs sound like Hell songs, but they adapt to what the guest brings to the table. On this track, Poppy is singing the verses while Health's vocalist sings the chorus. You've heard Poppy in her more pop electronic element previously. This track shows off her darker influences. You have the lyric. Where are the lyrics?
Yes. Okay, so the comment, the winner of Neil's SG Picks playlist poll was Los Angeles-based industrial noise rock band Health. They've been around since 2005 and released 5 albums as collaborative double album Disco 4. The winner song is from part 2 of that album. This song, Dead Flowers, features Poppy, who is a singer-songwriter with a musical style varying from pop, heavy metal, rock, electronic, industrial, and experimental. Let's check it out. Lyrics are on the way, Vinny. Let's go.
All right, here we go. This is Poppy, Dead Flowers.
Sounds positive.
I like that idea. Like, you do guests with everybody and then you take on their genre.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Yeah.
That's
interesting.
Unique, something you don't see every day. Dead Flowers, Health and Poppy. Let's do it. Was not expecting that. that seemed to really affect you, Madam.
I love that one.
Madam Lady.
I love
what's going on?
songs that are like slower. To me, this was like, it had like a sort of dark, emotive side that like, I don't know. It's the perfect vibe of music, you know, like when you're feeling sort of dark or sad and you're trying to work through it or just sit in it. Either way, I think both would work. I just really...
So it made you feel dark?
Not dark as in, like the opposite of sunlight. Like when you, yeah, dark, but not like, you know, there's
Not
like
like
evil
evil
dark.
dark.
Yeah, but more like just like this sort of sad,
Morose.
brooding, like, yeah, that you sort of like processing. Maybe it's the sort of dark that makes you like reminisce.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying for sure. And
I just, I don't think that certainly when I was a teenager, I didn't like slow songs really. I liked more like faster sort of whatever, but definitely at this, you know, toward the, really since the channel started, it feels like, it seems like I've been more like, okay, exploring like the sort of slower, like the music that you normally would want to escape from because it kind of like keeps pressing that emotion toward you, or that like whatever the feeling or the vibe is. But yeah, this one lyrically, I mean, it's weird because this like brought up like a lot of like different like thoughts and stuff from the past for some reason. I'm not really sure why. So I'm interested in kind of breaking down the lyrics. Because I don't think...
Which ones brought up your past?
It wasn't... like, the parts that I would hear were the dead flowers pressed against my lips. All that part was, like, really clear to hear. But I'm not even sure it was necessarily lyrically. Maybe it was just the feel of the song.
Got you. Okay. So what was it making you think about?
Well, strangely, I was thinking about... like when I was a kid, because you had said, we talked on the previous song and you were like, oh, were you sad as a kid? And I was like, I was, but you know, in our family, I remember being a teenager and finding out about the word depression and hearing people talking about it and saying so-and-so has depression. And I said, what is that? And there was like a discussion about it a little bit. And then I said, but they were basically saying Christians don't have depression.
Who's saying that?
Well, I'm not gonna.
Oh.
The person that I was talking to was saying Christians don't have depression, and so I was like, okay, well it was hard because part of it was like there was like something in me that was like I've always kind of felt like this sort of sadness that was like underneath. Well, the 4th of July, I didn't understand this before until this song was going on. Whenever I think about the holidays, the 4th of July and Christmas were always my favorite holidays, but especially the 4th of July, because something about Christmas. I think Christmas would bring up the sad feelings of people lost. So I remember the discussions about people feeling like sad and depressed and, you know, suicide rates being up around Christmas and stuff. So there was like a happiness to Christmas, but there was also like a little bit of a sad that was like laced throughout it. But the 4th of July wasn't like that because the 4th of July was like everybody that died, like they did it for a cause. You know what I mean? Like, and then it was the one, I think, you know, just kind of the overview, what I was thinking about was, I think that was the one holiday where we actually celebrated more and better than everybody else. The 4th of July was like a big thing. We got together as a family. There was lobster. There was, you know, all kinds of stuff. Well, anyway, I remember on the 4th of July going on the swing set with my cousins and like swinging up.
Go ahead. You're on the MacBook one.
Oh, it does? Okay. Yeah. I remember like swinging on the swing and going up as high as I could without like flipping over the top and thinking that moment I was singing. And then at that moment I was thinking about later on we're going to go down there, we're going to watch the fireworks, which was super exciting to me because again, usually when events were happening, like because we were like Christians and very like strict, we weren't a part of the events that the rest of the world was going through. 4th of July was different though. That one we were right in the thick of it. Our party was the biggest one in the neighborhood, you know. And so I remember swinging up super high and singing, and like my voice did like this weird cracky thing because I was just so like happy inside, and it just like woo. And I remember thinking, well, that was weird that my voice just did that, and if I was singing in front of people I would have been embarrassed. But I thought, I had all these thoughts, and then I was like, but I'm here by myself, and I realized like my cousins were there but nobody could hear me because we're at like different swing paces. And just being like super excited about that, and just like everything that was going to happen on the 4th. But then, you know, time progresses, things change, and you know, I'm not sure how much I want to say on that. So like the dead flowers pressed against my lip, like there's sort of like this sadness going on in the song, and so like even things that used to be happy can become sad, and like the concept of that, like the concept of what you think as a child that something is going to be like, and then how it actually is when you get there because your influences or whatever. But yeah, it was a sort of and then obviously like, you know, thinking about, you know, different people that I love that are or have gone through like really like sad times. And when you think of dead flowers, like dead flowers to me, it kind of makes you think of two things. There's like the dead flowers that are like, oh, you dried these flowers because there was some event that took place, whether it was love or it was something, and you tipped them upside down and let them dry out, but it still brings you back to a time when the flowers were alive and what was happening at that point in time. But the dead flowers sort of sounds like a negative thing, like not necessarily like, yeah, like something different, something lost.
That's crazy. I didn't know this until just now about you.
Which part?
The 4th of July was one of your favorite holidays.
I didn't either until this was going on, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, it was a very judicious way in which you discussed it. Because I know they don't know what you're really saying. Mm-hmm. But I don't care. I mean, I had a family member that... Look, the logic was very tight. Right? The logic was very tight. But I don't think she considered the ramifications. So I had a very close family member that left the world at her own hand on 4th of July. And the reason I'm saying that the logic worked was because when people heard the sound, they just assumed that it was fireworks. And so she was completely in control of the situation from start to finish. She called the police and said, hey, I'm about to do this. I'm here, here, and here. Here's my apartment number. Just walk in. And she did what she did. So it's tough. It's very interesting because when you get in a relationship with somebody, like a real one, where you commit yourself to the other person, like there's a lot of things that get sacrificed because of that. So like, it's interesting watching you talk, because I don't think that that's something you would tell me. You know what I'm saying? Considering the correlations. But it's important for me to know that because it's like, you know, that's a major sacrifice you had to make, you know.
And you know I am about like love. So for me, the 4th of July was like a love holiday. Because
right.
There's the fireworks. And anytime in movies that you would see fireworks, there was always kissing. So like for me, like that was all, like there was so much like, but yeah, I can see, I don't think I would have talked about it either. I'm not even sure if I would have put it together, except that the song just kind of like put all of those memories and stacked them together and led to the final feeling. So it was like, oh wow, I didn't like piece all of that together, but it all made sense and fit with the...
That's why I have you as Persephone on my phone. Because I dragged you down to hell with me. That's crazy. I just looked at it as a drug thing because she said just another fix. And really, a lot of drugs are just dead flowers, right? Like, literally, it's called flower, right? If you go with it's the difference between vape and whatever.
Yeah, but that would be like weed. We're not. I mean, if you're talking to what is like, are there stronger drugs that are?
Well, I mean,
that come from flower.
Well, cocaine comes from a plant.
So does
right? The coca plant,
seeds,
and heroin comes from so it's kind of like
is it opioids come from a plant?
But like weed especially, I mean, it's just like I said, it's called flower. I'm not sure if it's technically a flower, but that's what as soon as she said
what about
just
rough against my skin?
As soon as she said just another fix, I was like, hold
the memories in. I think that's where it hit me over there.
Yeah, so I just looked at it as she's smoking some shit and like reminiscing, and the drugs are helping her, process those memories and all the other shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, like it definitely reminded me of me and you for sure. There's a lot of things that you have to give up to be in a relationship with somebody like me, I think. So, yeah. So kudos to you for that.
Jeez, babe, that's so freaking sad.
I mean, I don't know. You can look at it sad, or you can look at it as beautiful. Like, oh, you sacrifice whatever to be with somebody. Like.
Well, you sacrifice a lot to be with me, also.
I agree, but your contributions are more metaphysical, and you can't really have a receipt for that. And a lot of that shit that you don't even talk about because you don't want to add extra. Whatever to me. So yeah, I think that's it's an important song to me just for our relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah,
it's definitely, it was like an emotional feeling song. Like, but I like songs like that because I think. I think that there's a lot of stuff that I won't process, but I will if music is on, because music is like, come with me.
Right.
We shall see.
Right.
And there's something about the end of the song ends the thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know like how hard it is to be you in this kind of a relationship, because my life experiences are so unique. You know what I'm saying? And it's you're in this weird. I'm looking at it from my perspective, but I can't talk about that. But from your perspective, it's like, I never really considered like, because we talk to each other about everything, and there's a very influential, important part of my life that I don't talk about, and I don't. And a lot of the reasons, just have to do with engaging like the very worst part of your nature. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a major, like I tell myself, like I'm not talking about it because of whatever, but I mean, these dudes are going on TV and doing shows now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I kind of saw that too.
But it's like, that's them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's them. That's their, like they found some way to, whatever. But I also know there's a lot of shit them dudes still ain't talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like, I know that for a fact. So, I don't know. But, like, there's a lot of sacrifices that have to be made if you're going to be with a person like me. So, it's a lot of times that goes unrecognized, but moments like this, I go, oh, shit. I forgot. Yeah, there's a real price to pay. You know what I'm saying? So.
Ugh, I don't even like hearing you say that.
Huh?
I don't like hearing you say that.
Say what?
There's a real price to pay and all that stuff.
Yeah, but there is. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason, like, the divorce rate in those situations is like 95 plus.
Yeah, I mean, I used to obsess about what wasn't said because I wanted, like a full entire picture, but I don't know. Like, I think one time we had a conversation and then I realized, like, well, I think we had multiple conversations, but the final one was realizing the the selfish nature of wanting to know all the information, because if that doesn't help the person who's talking, like if the person talking feels better after they talk about something, then it's like, okay, well then there's a give and take. That was a good, healthy whatever. But if somebody's not ready to talk about something, or they don't want to talk about something, and you force them to do it, like there's such an icky feel about it. And it's, how can you love somebody? How can you say that you love somebody and force that sort of discomfort in them? But if you're like, you know what, if the person wants to talk about it, like that's at the end of the day, like, you talk about stuff like in little spurts as you're ready, like when you want to. And so, I'm like, okay. And I know, like, if I forced that conversation, you might have told me more in one single setting, but that would have been the last time. And then the person is closed off. And so you didn't, so to get all of the information you want, because you're like, I want to have the open whatever, but then it actually closes somebody off because you pressed that information and dragged it out of them, then that is completely the opposite of what you're wanting. So, but yeah.
Silent count for me.
10 for me. Definitely my vibe. I like that.
Good. All right, we'll see you beautiful people on the other side of the break. We got more music coming for you on the other side of the break. Then out.
Sorry, out.
Go on, stay where you are. Don't be dumb. Commercial. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Poor Dwayne. Dwayne, I was like, is Dwayne the Beatles guy?
I can't believe you announced that. I'm like, how could you forget?
He's complaining about how he can't relate to any of our music. Like an old person.
I don't know, Dwayne. It's 11:18 here. It might be nap time.
Yeah, it might be nap time, Dwayne.
All right. So up next we have Tomb Mold. My God. The name of the song is Will of Whispers. Will of Whispers. Will of the Whispers. I think the Whispers is a idea of those little like people gone before. Anyway.
Yeah, but this is Will of Whispers.
Yeah, I know, but the Will of the Whispers is something that was anyway, we'll see. We'll see if it has anything to do with it. It's like the dead and the little spirits that they
I see. The
song selection process to determine a reaction. Oh, I believe this is Neil speaking to us. DJ Neil. Yep, True Cult's leader. Yeah, this is for True Cult. Sorry I didn't announce. So Neil says this song selection process to determine a reaction was focused on technical death metal bands or progressive death metal bands. Death metal can cover a wide scope of influences, and in this case, the True Cult wanted to display the musicianship and songwriting that those two sides two styles provide. Ultimately, Tom Mould's Will of Whispers was selected. Tom Mould. Did you hear that? Tomb Mould,
Weirdo.
a band from Toronto, Canada, started their career as an old school death metal band, a style of death metal that celebrates how death metal was played in the 80s and early 90s. But across their 4 releases, their songwriting has evolved. This track is from their 2023 release, The Enduring Spirit. And one of the most notable additions to their songwriting is the use of atmospheric guitar lines. Will of Whispers is a great song to showcase their evolution.
All right,
Or
let's
this
see it.
evolution.
Let's see it. They dropped the dreaded P word, so that might already hurt the the song. But you know, I am, as they say, the mayor of fair. All right, all right. Let's do it. Will of Whispers. Let's go. You got the lyrics?
Yep, I'm going to be sending them to you. Well, I mean, I'm going to go look here. This is the picture for that if
Let's go.
you're wanting to do with anything. No, I don't have lyrics.
Like that. Not what I was expecting. Is that them? Okay, that was Sue Mulder.
Yep.
I feel like this song would have rated extremely high if it was an instrumental.
Yes.
I just didn't think...
Or at least higher.
I'm okay with dirty vocals,
Babe.
but that... I don't know, man. I don't know. Go ahead.
Did you realize that the numbers that you clicked in for if people win on Rumble, it ends with tough guy? Look, tough guy I. Figures that'd be what you type when you randomly type it.
Yeah, I did. And there's no, there's only 4 likes on the Rumble side, so there's nothing we could do. You got to get to 10 likes for that.
And I just refreshed too. Yeah, the vocal style is just, I can't.
Well, it's crazy because the lyrics are amazing. It just, I just didn't work, man. I don't, and you know, maybe it's one of those things where I have to, because I felt like I felt like there's some jazzy parts in this song, and I think one of these guys, I think it was Archero, alluded to like there might be jazz later on, but I definitely felt some of like the first song in this one, like it was a little bit chaotic on the instrumental side, but it worked. In my mind, it worked. I don't really, the vocal style, maybe the vocal style is something you just got to get, used to or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been listening to this stuff for years. I cannot with this type of vocal style. I don't enjoy it. And it's so hard to understand. First of all, I do think as a concept, because there was like that beautiful stuff that was like going in the background, like you said, instrumental.
Right.
So I think that if you can fuck with that type of vocal style, it would really work because you have like the really beautiful side and then that vocal style. I just can't with the vocal style, but the concept I love. I love the extremes, and we have that sort of. We've seen that before, where we've seen bands, Niabla Vascaris, where you had the guy with the violin.
You got Zen. He's the deaf vocals, but it works with Niabla Vascaris.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I love that concept. We've seen it played out before.
Like, you're not a fan of those vocals, but in a particular context, it works for me.
Exactly. But this doesn't work for me.
It did not work. I just don't think it didn't work for me either. I just don't think it worked with this particular band because sonically the music was going everywhere. It was going to really deep places, and then you just had this monolith of a vocal style without any real inflections. It's the same thing over and over again. And if you listen to a lot of death metal bands with death vocals, there are ebbs and flows to the,
This is like a depressed monster.
It makes it less human and thereby harder to relate to. Like, it would be like if somebody talked like this the entire time, we would say that that's boring, right? Yeah. But if you because we say it's monotone. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you're going no matter what you say, that's still monotonous. Because monotony just means one over and over again. That's what mono.
Yep.
Right? It means just one in a cycle. So like, it's still a monotonous sound, and that's not how human beings interact with pain and sorrow.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I said, in my opinion, the death vocals were there to, brought to music to say, what about when you're really angry? Right? So, like, if you're singing a song and you're sad... It doesn't
sound angry, though. It sounds like...
Right, but if you're singing a song and you're sad, we know what that sounds like. If you're singing a song and you sound happy, we know what that sounds like. And death metal came along, or metal came along and said, okay, what does it sound like when you're angry? And that's when I think Slipknot's first record is a perfect...
Yeah.
Because it was so human.
Uh-huh.
It was not, if you look at the first song to the last song, it was not this monotonous rah, rah, rah. There was a lot of up and downs, and there was a lot of breaking of the voice because it was a really human... Ross Robinson has that sort of live feel. But, yeah, it was death vocals, you could say so, but he was genuinely experiencing something, where it was just I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I almost feel like, I hate to say it this way, but it was like wasted some really good lyrics that we're about to get into.
Yeah, let's get into them, because when I was doing this, babe, I was trying to figure out. I was like, I wanted you to point with this where we were
in the song,
but I didn't know. Oh, you couldn't
I didn't
figure it
because
either.
I had no freaking idea where we were.
Okay. Usually, I'll be like, where? I'll be like doing this, and then you'd show me where it is. So, okay. All right. Every word primes the nerves. They dissolve our euphoric cluster. We are at each other's mercy, but what pushes you onward? Our roots coil and ripen, and the believing heart opens all doors. Those fixed in their years quietly wait for all to disappear.
Right, like, to say lyrics like that, this is just, like, crazy to me.
Yeah, why?
I'm disconnected from the emotionality of what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Because of the way you present those lyrics, man. Like, it's, like, it doesn't have to be clean. It doesn't have to be, it's just, it was monotonous. It was. Our roots coil and ripening, and the believing heart opens all doors. Those fix. Okay, so this looks like they're in a relationship.
I like relationship songs. Let me just
They
throw this in there.
dissolve
I do think,
our euphoric cluster. So
I
they're
hate
in a
the word
relationship
cluster.
together.
I hate the word cluster. It's disgusting. The one of the things about music that even if I don't like it, but as long as it like drums up some curiosity, that vocal style doesn't. It's just like a version. I don't want it. I don't like it. I don't want it. But you know, I'm very, the lyrics, you know, you just piqued my interest. Let's dive into it, Vinny.
Well, that's what Dwayne was saying. Like, thank you, Finn. Lyrics did not correspond with those grunting vocals. They really didn't. They really didn't. All right, so every word primes the nerves. They dissolve our euphoric cluster. So there's some truth that's being spoken, which is ending their little happiness.
Yeah.
We are at each other's mercy, but what pushes you onward?
Ah.
Our roots coil and ripen, and the believing heart opens all doors. Those fixed in their years quietly wait for all to disappear.
When it says the believing heart opens all doors, is that like, 1 Corinthians 13 says love believes all things, hopes all things? Mm-hmm. Is that what we're talking about? Like,
yeah, I think this is about being disillusioned with the truth in a relationship. Our tattered beauty held close to a corpse. All that provokes awe is sublime. See, so like them in their relationship, it's beautiful when you look at it from one angle, but the reality is it's a corpse because they're done. It's over with for them. Our tattered beauty held close to a corpse. All that provokes awe is sublime. Time
so
without
is that
haste.
saying the event or the thing that whatever it is that they're discussing is the corpse, or their relationship is the corpse? Because our tattered beauty, it kind of sounds like their tattered beauty is getting close to a corpse because of whatever they just figured out.
It says our tattered beauty held close to a corpse, and I think that the corpse and the beauty are the same thing. Like, it's one angle of their relationship was beautiful, but if you look at it from another angle, it's a corpse because they're done. Because some truth has been said. Every word primes the nerves. They dissolve our euphoric cluster. So there's some truth that was spoken that like takes away all the beauty in the relationship, and it's just left to the corpse.
Yikes. Okay.
Underneath, time without haste, patient without release. You light your way to sorrow. You light your way to sorrow. That's a crazy line. Time, patience without release.
Patience without release.
That was pretty much the relationship I had previous. No disrespect to Shorty, but I was patient for quite some time, considering my age.
Yeah.
It's almost half my life that I was patient. And
I also think the age in which you are patient is different too, because patience at 40 or patience at 50 is not the same as patience at 20.
Right.
There's a lot more
you're a kid,
possibilities at 20, and there's a lot, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're 50, you start realizing, like, the fallout of something is not, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have a different understanding of how bad a fallout can be. Like, I'm talking to a couple people right now that are going through divorces, and I already did that, and it's horrible. Like, it doesn't matter. The other person did some shit, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, the divorce itself and the ripple effects that has on your kids, on your family, like, things are not the same. It's definitely, it's not easy. It is not easy. But sometimes decisions and choices have to get made based off of other people's decisions and choices. But it's...
Behind our ache where fire forms, along the line in which spirits travel, I want to weep there in that place. Lead me now where you are. So, either she died, or again, we're just taking the relationship as experiencing a death and wanting to get back to that place they were before. There's a lot of couples that have that there's like a sort of narrative that follows them that this particular time period was the best time period. And if we get back to that, then we'd be good. And it looks kind of like that. Behind our ache where fire forms, along the line in which spirits travel, sounds like hell. I want to weep there in that place. Lead me now to where you are. It's kind of like he says he wants to weep in that place where she is, because, yeah, sometimes, especially if you're not a person that expresses their emotions or whatever, having a person who you can do that with is important. But it also becomes kind of this crippling thing, because if that person's not around, you don't really know how to, you just revert back to, enclosure, with yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, this is a brutally honest understanding about some relationships. Like, we have this conversation, like, sometimes, like, people don't fix the problem. Sometimes the couple that you're rooting for doesn't make it. Like, sometimes the bad thing that the person's doing, you could pray for 15, 20 years, and they may, like, my mom, like, she prayed for my stepdad for decades, and her prayer wasn't answered until they were fully and finally divorced. So she never got to enjoy any of the good stuff, because her role with him was to deal with all the bullshit until he came around. So, and I think that's one of the things that cost her life for sure. For sure. And, like, I mean, it almost took my life, dealing with Shorty. So, yeah, like, it's tough. Then sleep with our sex at rest. It traces me to here where I must purge myself at last. Our divine truth is both cruel and fatal. There it is. So that's why I said, like, there was some truth that was spoken in the beginning that and notice he says it's cruel and fatal, and he keeps talking about a corpse or whatever. Yeah. I saw
There's one more spot down at the bottom. Yeah, okay. You saw what?
All are allowed their secrets. All are allowed their spirits. All are allowed their solace. All are allowed their sorrow. But who will remove the blade from between my eyes? Woo!
Jeez,
But yeah, like, that's cool. You're allowed your secrets. But the more secrets you have, the more your relationship is in jeopardy. Because you start creating categories of reality that your partner's not invested in. And so you kind of have this other world devoid of her. I don't know how it's possible for a couple like me and you to be in that type of situation. I don't know if people realize this, but, like, we're literally around each other 24/7. Like, I'm not more than 10 feet away from her for the whole day.
Unless I'm at the grocery store, in which case you're saying hurry back.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, it's hard.
And if you go 10 feet away from me, I'm like, where are you? What do you got?
I'm not saying that's healthy. I'm not saying that's goals, but it's very, very hard to keep secrets and separate lives when you work with your partner and you guys are on literally the exact same schedule. Like, there's times in
the social media.
There's times in our relationships where, like, I'd be up and you'd be, like, out, and you would, you know what I'm saying? But then when you were pregnant and stuff, like, we kind of, like, missed each other for a little bit because you were just knocked out. You were sick.
Sleeping and oh my God, I was so sick.
And you had the razor pregnancy was the best one, start to finish. Like, you already knew what was happening. You knew what to expect. Orion, it was like 7 years since you were last pregnant, so it was basically like a brand new pregnancy again. With Razor, you handled it like a boss. You were so,
and they were closer together.
Oh yeah, it was like they're like 15,
I think
16
Orion,
months
I was
apart.
super, super sick a lot too.
Yeah, it was horrible.
But yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, those secrets end up killing the relationship, because truth cannot destroy your relationship unless you hold that truth in secrecy. See what I'm saying? So if you're just, going around and you're used to doing that type of shit. And like I said, it becomes easy. Dudes got to go to work. They got things going on at work. Girls got things going on at work. We know that. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of things that can destroy a relationship. And, you know, when you hear about divorces and shit like that, especially in a Christian context, it's like, how could that happen? You know what I'm saying? But it's like...
You think that?
Oh, yeah. Especially, like... How do I say this? Like, there was no crazy person in the particular relationship that we're looking at.
Oh. Like,
there were moral issues. They were like, but, like, there wasn't, like, borderline personality. That's a completely different thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And again, that's something that's just generally not going to change, but it's one of those things where you adapt around it. And now she has found ways to adapt around it, and she's doing great with it. But all those changes happened after the divorce. You know what I'm saying? So
that's interesting. Yeah, that's true. That would be the difference, because she changed after the divorce.
Just like with my mom.
I think he's worse.
Yeah. Just like with my mom. Like, he changed after... But he took all the life out of her, but eventually the change happened. So It's like, we always have this back and forth between faith and realism. I'm like, like, people don't change like that. Like, people are generally going to be what they are. And sometimes a miraculous change happens, in which case you praise God for it. But for the most part, and I don't know, this might just be cynicism. I don't, for the most part, I think people left to themselves they're gonna be that. And I think when you're in a relationship, you have to determine, okay, this is not gonna change. Can I absorb this? And really, if you think about it, your goal, if you're always constantly saying you need to change your partner, then you need to change your partner. You understand what I'm saying to you? If you gotta constantly fix this person to change him to be, and look, I'm not saying who's right or wrong. You might be the dick. You might be the one that, like, imposing your way on this person, and you want him to live your way, or he might be the dick, which is he's used to a certain kind of freedom that you don't want to give him because it's not conducive to a proper relationship. Whatever it is, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to decide if you're going to accept that, and if you can accept that, then that makes things a lot easier. But if you can't accept it, I think the solution is to leave. I don't think the solution is to sit there and try to change somebody over decades. Like, that's crazy.
I think that there's a certain level of, like, practicality to Christianity. Because in Christianity it says, look, from the moment that you were born as a sinner. Like, you weren't some innocent little baby, and then, like, somewhere as you were growing, you picked up bad habits from your neighbors and your parents, and then became this horrible person that could do X, Y, and Z thing by the time you were 40. We believe, as the Bible says, as Jesus told us, that everybody's a sinner from when you were born, and that's why we're in need of God's grace and God's mercy toward us. And so that helps in relationships, because, there are certain ways that your sinful nature gets expressed and certain ways that mine does. And, like, when I see it, I'm like, well, you know what? It was going to come out somewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's not like, but sometimes I think that people think that's where the whole grass is greener on the other side thing comes into play, is because you think because this person does X, Y, and Z thing that you can't stand, that person doesn't do it. Right. That person might not do it, but they do something else that would bug you. They do something else that would make your life miserable, because what you are at the end of the day is two sinners, and both of you are on the same path, and you're trying to make it work together. And so that's why I think that the greatest message of the Bible is love. Like, the greatest commandment is love. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. And then the second commandment, it's like the same. It says, love your neighbor like you love yourself. And so at the end of the day, like, that's God's remedy to everything, is, look, you guys got to learn to love each other, not both parties, right? So I have to learn to be loving to you in that however my sin nature expresses itself, that I try to, like, work on that, so that way it doesn't have such a negative effect on you, and vice versa.
Right. And unfortunately, as a Christian, I was born that way is not an excuse.
Right, exactly.
Because you were born again.
Exactly.
So you can't use it as an excuse. I agree with Controller and all that it's not necessarily the most healthy thing that we're around each other so much. And that's why I said, don't take that as relationship goals, or this is a pinnacle of a relationship. I do think that there are strengths and weaknesses in whatever model of a relationship that people have. Mm-hmm. But we talk about it a lot. So I shout out to Controller for offering a contrary opinion. It wasn't that contrary to us, but it's kind of risky.
What did Controller say?
Well, he said, being around each other 24/7 seems not so healthy to me. Doing stuff separately with another person I think is healthy. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. I think that different personalities and different people draw stuff out of you that wouldn't otherwise get drawn out of you. Like, I think that every human being is a muse in a sense to somebody, to whoever you come in contact with. And I think that's for positive 100%. And for negative. So I think, like, in my healthiest mindsets, I'm like, it's better for you to go hang out with other people and stuff and, like, grow as a person and, like, explore new facets of who you are. That's my healthiest version, My unhealthy is, good day to you, sir.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I loved this song lyrically. Musically, if it would have been an instrumental, it would have gotten some really high scores. But honestly, that vocal style really, really...
I love the lyrics. These are probably the lyrics of the night. I don't think we're going to get more beautiful lyrics. I mean, it's interesting because the previous song was a bit monotonous, but the way she did it was beautiful. Say that.
Yeah.
Right? It was beautiful. This one, the lyrics were amazing, but the vocals were too monotonous. And
See, I'm okay with repeating lyrics. That's literally the style of music that I go to when it's like worship music or whatever. I want something that's not going to go because... I don't need to be distracted by a bunch of lyrics. I just want a general theme that we can go with, and then I want to experience my soul in all kinds of different ways with that. So I don't need like a bunch of deep lyrics. Deep lyrics are cool because they're fun to read and break down with you, but I don't necessarily like need that to enjoy a song. The vibe of the song means more to me, and this vocal style really messed with the vibe of the song for me.
I'm going to give this one a 6.4.
That's nice. I gave it a 4. And that was actually me raising the score because of the lyrics. Again, love the lyrics, but that vocal style was killing me, man. I'm sure Dwayne is going to kill me because that's still higher than I gave that Beatles song. Or whatever.
Listen, I talked to John Lennon yesterday. He said he didn't even like that shit. He said we came up with that shit in like 2 minutes in the studio. We thought people were going to be dumb enough to like this song because we're the Beatles. That's what he told me.
Gets all kinds of interviews.
The interview's coming. We're going to post the interview soon, inshallah.
It's strangely, John Lennon is behind a really interesting green screen. Makes him look like he's like in another world.
Yeah. Yeah, it made him look like he was. Yeah, there's a lot of fire and stuff.
I was gonna say I didn't want to, I didn't want to put that.
Imagine there's no heaven, Mr. Lennon.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine you really were more influential than Jesus Christ.
Yeah. You got a lot of influence.
Well, on that note, we'll be right back.
We shall return. Then out.
Sorry out.
God, he said he's blocking you.
Hi, Dwayne.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village. Facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Mm-hmm.
I was 16 with a carbon 15. Motherfuckers got to die and it ain't going to be me.
Oh.
All right, here we go, guys.
Okay, you guys, last song of the night for our Alliance stream. This is Ruadh. I don't know. Read that, babe.
Ruadh.
Sack
Ruadh.
of Berwick.
If you see a DH like that in Arabic, it's a TH sound, actually.
Ruadh?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Epic Underground, whose leader is Archero. Archero says Sack of Berwick is by Ruadh. Oh, look. Ruadh. Is the winner of our Metal Ambassadors poll. Each Alliance member chose one country, not their own, to be the ambassadors for and selected their poll submissions from only that country. The victorious country was the United Kingdom, whose ambassador was Middle-earth.
Of course!
That's why it won. We will soon have another poll featuring only the UK as a reward for winning this poll. Ruadh is from Glasgow, New Scotland. They play a combination of atmospheric black and folk metal, focusing on nature, yes, Scottish history, and mythology. All right, you guys, the lyrics are going to be posted by Vincente. Vincente. And this is the last song of the night, so enjoy it. Enjoy this time together, you guys.
Enjoy it, losers.
But we'll be back tomorrow, so don't get worried. Yeah, timestamp. Give me the timestamp.
1:36.
Let's go.
All right. Chile was so close to victory. Maybe next time. Let's do it. I issued a command. Let's do it.
Not everybody listens to you like I do.
It looks like we're not hearing anything. Hold on. Okay, we're back. I'm just turning you off. I'm turning you off. Good. All right, here we go. I think we're getting a little chippy. What's going on?
I was wondering what was going on here.
Talk to the people.
All right, you guys. Let's do a random Ask Me Anything.
No, let's not.
Nope,
Here we go.
Not. Let's start.
Pagan story activated. That's funny. They know you.
Facts.
That's woo! Some shit. I want to go fight right now. Let's go.
Wow, I was thinking about on the top of a mountain.
Yeah, sure.
He was like, but hold on. Wow.
Whoa. Wow.
Wow. Wow.
One of the most confusing things to me about the metal community, or maybe not necessarily metal community, or maybe our community, is like the reaction against the concept of original sin.
Oh.
Like,
yeah, I agree
feel
with
like
that.
metalheads
What's
should
the
be like-
reaction? Because
it's like, no, that's not true, blah, 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 that's religious preconditioning, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but how comes every free people on the earth had to kill in bunches and spill blood in gallons to get free? Who are they fighting? Who are these Scots fighting? Were they fighting were they fighting nature? Were they fighting a hurricane? What were they? They were fighting other human beings.
yeah,
And why? Because those human beings were oppressing them. And so it's like, I mean, really, you can tell the story of humanity just by the wars. You know, that line when it says, like, there's enough blood to start the mills?
yeah,
That was crazy.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because you need, like, a bunch
lot.
of rushing
and it has
water
to, be
get
flowing
those things.
fast
Yeah.
for it to even move that.
Yeah, like that.
So
that,
this was like a chunk in Scotland's history.
yeah,
That we're talking about
yeah.
here.
I think this was around the William Wallace time. I'm not sure, but
Oh,
we got some people in here that know, but just the larger outworking, it's very interesting. Like, this song to me encapsulates both of what we talk about, where we talk about original sin and then we talk about the image of God.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most beautiful song I've heard all night,
it's beautiful.
and the subject matter was horrible. Somehow these brothers found a way to make it beautiful, talking
Middle
about
said
like
yes, Braveheart.
the worst things in the world. And that's magic. That's the image of God on these people. Like, these people, I'm assuming, are the descendants of the people that was, you know, fighting these wars or whatever, but they found a way to beautify it when discussing it. That's the image of God, but the subject matter is original sin.
Yep.
And so they're both encapsulated in this song, and it makes you look at humanity and just say, what the hell are we? We're capable of, like, the worst evil possible, and we're capable of making things that are just so beautiful and timeless in the same being or
100, yeah.
groups of people. And I just never have found a philosophical answer that satisfies both of those questions, like the first 3 chapters of Genesis, which tells us you were created in the image of God. You were created to dominate the physical world. You were created to figure out the hacks on this platform and make it work to your benefit and the benefit of other human beings. And that's the realm in which we created music. And then original sin, which comes later, tells us that you are corrupt and you will find a way to corrupt everything. And so it's a real, the contradiction within every human being at the metaphysical level is satisfactorily explained to me by the first 3 chapters of Genesis.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But, like, man, I mean, and it's interesting because, you know, like, I had a friend who, they were doing some boat interdiction or whatnot.
Some what?
They were jumping on a boat because the boat was, you know, whatever.
Okay.
And one of the dudes upped his AK, and his man was dealing with somebody else. And so the guy upped his AK, and he didn't have time to get his, because he was out, so what he did was he went to his knife, and he cut dude's throat.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like one of the, like, 4th or 5th knife kill in that unit, like, ever.
Wow, okay.
I remember him talking about it, and I remember, I mean, rest in peace to the homie, but I remember asking him, like, yo, is it different? Oh yeah, it's much different. He said, I couldn't get the sensation out of my, you know.
Well, yeah.
'Cause you're just squeezing a trigger, you know, wherever the bullet goes, it goes, and then you just see the guy dropping your scope, and you go to the next guy, and the other guy dead checks him, and you keep moving. But, like, he said it was definitely different.
I mean, this is gonna sound like such a childish comparison, but also it's I had just gotten my license. I hadn't had it for very long. I was 16, and I was driving to work, and I'm very impatient. I do not like it when things are in the road blocking my driving path. I was already late, and there was this dog going across the road, and like the dog was like you know, like when I say dumbing his way across the road, like there are some dogs that just come across as intelligent, and other ones that you're like, how is this thing still alive?
Yeah.
And so this thing like comes like blah, 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 across the road, and it was almost out of my path. And I blared my horn because I wanted the dog to move, and I also wanted whoever's dog it was to come out and get their dog out of the road. So when I did that, then I hit the gas. The dog friggin' turned around and went right back in front of my vehicle. It went underneath my vehicle. My windows are open. I got like, I remembered this like a couple days ago. I scream. I'm like, ah! Like this, but I cover my face because I thought like I killed this dog because I felt it like underneath my car. Murderer! And then I look and I see there's like some guy, actually he was on this side, some guy was raking his yard. He busts out laughing watching this entire thing. And the dog pulls itself from underneath and just like dumbs his way across the rest of the road. He didn't look injured at all. But the way that my vehicle, like it felt like on the handles, the feel of the vehicle when it hit the dog, like, I don't know, like even to this moment, I can still feel like what that felt like. And this is like, the dog is alive. You know what I mean? It was a dog. So like an experience like that, like if I like push that feeling to the extreme, like when you're saying that, I'm like, man.
I mean, he didn't feel guilty about it because the dude was about to kill his man, you know, but it was just, you could tell it was just
just the ways that people deal with the fact that they took another human life is to say, well, it was justifiable because he was going to get my guy. But like at the end of the day, you still have to live with that action, or no?
No, there's some truly evil people. There's people that send mentally retarded kids in the middle of souks with suicide bomb. A souk is a
market.
Like a market, like an outdoor Walmart over there.
Yep.
Middle East. So these people send, 6-year-old mentally retarded kids in the middle of the souk and blow them up.
Are you saying that
if you saw that happen in the aftermath of what that looks like, and then you saw the dude who sent that kid on that mission smiling and all that shit, you would have no problem ending that guy.
I wouldn't, you think?
I don't think a lot of
people.
And
it wouldn't affect me later on, you don't think?
If somebody's trying to hurt you, and yeah, I wouldn't feel bad about it at all.
No, I'm saying, do you think I would?
Oh, I think you would. Yeah, for sure, I think you would. But that's why I don't believe in women in combat. But yeah, if somebody's trying to hurt you or one of the kids, like, yeah. Like, I'm a pacifist in the sense that that's what should happen. But I also, I mean, you've been there for a couple of them. I've also had some experiences where if it's you or if it's the girls, yeah, like, I'm not there yet.
No.
Folks could die. So I believe that's the right thing to do. It's just, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a better person than I am. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's me, I'm really good. Like, I've made a lot of progress on that. People do anything they want to me. I'm not going to defend myself. But if it's
that's 100% true.
If it's the girls, like, nah. Like, people gonna.
That was also like some, I would say like some supernatural shit going on, because there was like a ministry stuff that you were doing where you were helping the homeless and stuff. Mm-hmm. And like, he wasn't married to me at the time, but you and your ex, somebody threw a bottle at her. Like, now I know like how you are. Like, that guy is lucky. I mean, she was like, it's fine. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Which actually, to be honest with you, at the time, I thought was a little bit confusing, because I'm used to like a certain type of male where it's like, even if something serious is going on, they're going to say they would have engaged, but they're never going to engage. Now that I've been around you, I'm like, I understand why she was saying, it's fine, it's no problem, it's whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I still talk to the homie, though.
You do?
No. I'm saying I talked to him that day.
Oh.
I said, yo, my man. And the thing is, the entire park was against this dude. So I didn't want to pile on him. And he didn't throw it at her. He just threw it, and then, it got to her, but that was enough for me.
I know, yeah.
And then Shorty, it's funny, because Shorty's a pretty violent person herself, mm-hmm. but she was like, nah, chill, because she, we were trying to do some Jesus stuff in the park, and she's like, we don't need your We don't need your dumbass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I went up to him and I forgave him and stuff like that. But yeah, like, if that would have been you, like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. But, like, I think Controller, look at this. Contemporary accounts of the number of slain ranges from 4,000 to 17,000 women by some sources were not spared. Other accounts, such as that of the monks of the English monastery of Lancrosse, say women were not spared. So, like, there's one account that says the women were spared, another account that says women aren't spared. But, like, if what was happening on Braveheart was actually truly happening, where, like, you'd get married and then they'd steal your girl and do all this types of craziness, like, no, hell no. Like, it's better to die. Like, I don't know.
Oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah,
when it said over here,
it's just better to die, man.
So it basically sounds like, okay, so Alexander, is it this Alexander the Great?
No.
My history's really bad. Okay, so Alexander's death with no heir to take the throne, the young maid of Norway taken by disease. So it sounds like she would have maybe taken the throne, but she died also.
It just looks to me like there are two people that everybody had universally agreed were going to take the throne, but
And
they
both
both died. So now there's a vacancy in the power, and
Which
whenever
is
that
bringing
happens,
civil war.
Whenever that happens, it's going to create civil war.
So crowned to serve the Anglo king to bring Scotland to its knees. So they crowned this guy, Bellil.
Yeah.
When it said to his knees, a vassal state would be the answer to the Longshakes anytime he needs. So is that where refused to fight against the French?
So it's
is
like
that
it's
where
like it's like what we
where
did.
Britain was trying to do with us in America?
Yeah, it's what we
Like,
did
they
with
were trying
Karzai in Pakistan, where the tally was pretty much running shit. We took out the tally in about 2 weeks, and then we installed Hamid Karzai in a democratic election, when in reality he was just our guy doing our... It's the same thing we said with Ukraine, where we had the CIA girl on the phone, and they were deciding who the leader of Ukraine was going to be, because Ukraine is a vassal country of the United States. Zelensky is our guy. He does what we tell him to do, etc. So that's the guy that got elected was basically a vassal of the the bad guys. And so now there's all this tension because like you're not, and so like these guys are doing jihad. I mean, it's brutal, man. It's brutal. That's what I'm saying. Like about like people. It's funny. Like when you read the Bible and it talks about the rich man and all this. Like American Christians, like they separate themselves from the rich man, not realizing that they're the rich man of this time period. If you're an American, you're rich. You know what I'm saying?
I would say there's almost never a time. I don't like draw bathwater very often, but whenever I do, I always think to myself, this was for the kings. And this is just a regular, like any basic apartment in any state is going to have a bathtub now, where that was literally for the kings. Like, and the fact that we can just turn it on and like hot water comes out, even the kings didn't have that, right? Somebody would have to draw that for them, right?
Yeah, like it's just the same story over and over again. People with power trying to oppress people with little power that they perceive to have little power. But you know what powerful people don't realize is that you don't have to win to win. You just have to be able to accept losses at a higher degree than your enemy. So if you look at the tally, they chased us out of Afghanistan 2-3 years ago. The death toll is not even close. Not even we lost like 16 dudes in 2020 over there. 16. The death toll with these dudes is not even close to the type of death we brought down on them people. You had whole
so many families,
cars and truckloads of like entire family trees had been cut off from the forest type shit. But their ideology is the more you die, the better it is. You go to Jannah, blah blah blah. How do you defeat somebody like that? You could spend 5 weeks clearing out this specific village, and then you've cleared out all the tally in the village, and then 2 weeks later, there's a whole bunch of tally to come back, go right through the meat grinder, but they're still killing some of your people, and you got to call home. And an American mom and an Afghan mom is different. They're different. So all they know is hardship, pain, and suffering over there. They're born into that shit. So they don't talk about like we have 50 dead. They'll say we have 50 shaheed. right? And a shaheed is a martyr, and they have a different conception of martyrdom than Christians do, obviously. But a shaheed is a martyr, and he gets all these accolades when he gets to heaven, and he gets to miss the judgment day. So, you know, that's one of the things that empires have to watch out for.
No.
That's what you have to watch out for if you're a superpower, and it's one of the things that, I don't know, it scares me is a proper word, but it's definitely a concern that we are the lone empire on the planet.
Yeah.
And we don't recognize that we are the oppressive empire now.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
We don't understand that. And so
yeah.
They don't understand, oh, why do people hate us? Blah, blah, blah. I remember when 9/11 happened, I was genuinely like, yo, why do people hate us? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, but at the time, I'm like, I don't give a fuck why they hate us. They're going to die, bro. They're just going to die in bunches. But, you know, things aren't that simple, man. You know, it's a tough thing to wake up to. Like, I see Sean going through it right now. He'll ask these guys, like, were we the bad guys? It's like, he already knows the answer to that question, but he can't bring himself to it because...
Yeah, you took part too much.
America. Yeah. You know, people talk about, oh, these are people fighting for our freedoms. Like, what are you talking about? Italy had nothing to do with my freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
What are you talking about? There's nobody in Italy ever called me a nigga. Like, I've talked to a couple people in the town, never called me a nigga. Always respectful. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It's crazy. War is crazy, and it doesn't matter like what side you're on. You could be the most. I mean, think about it. You had people that were fighting for Germany, and that's why I'm so big on. I am not going to other Nazis. I'm not going to act like Nazis are some special kind of people. Mm-hmm. Nazis are just regular people, man. They're just regular people. And in 500 years, the term Nazi might be synonymous with the term American.
Wow. Yeah.
Because I hope you realize we've killed way more millions than Mr. Hitler did.
Yeah, because at least Hitler wasn't killing his own.
Right.
We will walk our own children to clinic and kill our own children.
Right. I mean, Hitler would send whole battalions of kids into a situation where he knew they were all going to die. So let's not, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, but that's not the same as a mother with a child in her own womb. Like, that's a whole nother level. Like, another generation looking back at this, it's going to be unbelievable.
I agree.
Because it hasn't like, you had the, Marduk, the arms of Marduk, when they would light the fire underneath and he had his iron arms.
Yeah,
and they would
Molech.
set the baby. Molech.
That was Molech, yeah.
Molech, right. And they would sacrifice it. But the reason that they were doing it was because they were needing something from the gods. And they believed that was the only way to make it happen. It wasn't that they were like,
and it was because those demons wanted those babies killed. So it did get them what they needed. But yeah, for sure. In 500 years, people won't even believe our atrocities. They won't even believe it.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, no way. This is exaggerated. There's no way that people were breaking the backs.
I'm sure there was some people.
Nobody was breaking the skulls of little babies and shit like that legally in America. That never happened. Like,
in a hospital, yeah.
You know, it's gonna be like that. So like songs like this like make you pause because you're like, obviously you're cheering for the underdog, but you don't realize as an American that you are now the oppressor. Mm-hmm. And anybody that you fight with is now the underdog. Like, you found a way to make the Taliban a sympathetic figure in the Islamic world, which they were not before. People don't understand this. Like, the vast majority of the Muslim world does not want to live like the Taliban. Okay? Because they're living exactly... You want to talk about radical Salafism? I mean, they're living exactly like the Salaf. So, most Muslims did not like them. Mm-hmm. That's why they were concentrated in Afghanistan. Go to Turkey. You think a Turkish person wants to live like that? A Turkish person would much sooner go to America than fucking Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. So the entire Muslim world did not like these people. You know, if we look at it like people who won't celebrate Christmas or Halloween, like, yo, you're an extremist, get out of here. We can't have fun with you. Just go. That's how the Muslim world look at the Taliban. After 9/11, they got lionized, and now you got all these little,
Wow.
Anyway, but yeah, like, because you cannot destroy the human spirit, man. Especially in this day and age when there's way too many people. Look, man, how much longer do you think this Gaza thing is going to happen? I don't know if you guys realize this, but during the Operation Enduring Freedom or Iraqi Freedom or whatever, we pretty much took out, they They're talking about the Fedayeen and all the special forces. Come on, man. We took those dudes out in 2 weeks. The vast majority of people that were fighting when we were in Iraq were people from Syria and other places that were joining the global jihad.
Oh.
So, it didn't happen immediately, but you keep massacring these Gazans. Let's see what happens in that area. Them boys gonna show up. It's gonna be some shit, boy.
Yeah, because you might be able to keep... I don't think generation after generation you could keep doing that. Like, eventually, some of the kids are gonna be like, what was wrong with my parents? Why are we're living like this? And then they decide to do something extreme because they're like, we're not doing this anymore. Mm-hmm. I'd rather die than do this.
Yeah. American history's always been whitewashed. Ask any indigenous genocide that's been in American history for 500. It's just fact. It's just factual.
Yeah.
So like we're listening to these songs, man. I'm like, fuck those people, bro. And it's like, well, okay, like the British king was taking these girls and sexually assaulting them, and you just bombed the shit out of them to the point where their mothers can't recognize them. So we're better than them.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, terrorism, you can't hurt civilians. Really? When the civilians are paying into the military that's killing your people, those are not legitimate targets? That's ridiculous. Let me tell you something. I can tell you factually that if there's a guy that we don't like and we find out that you're financing him, we'll kill you. We'll kill you. So Americans got to understand, be careful who you vote for, because you are essentially a combatant by funding that. Now, I know that that's not fair to say, but when you take it down at a more molecular level, if there was a guy that was bombing the shit out of us, right, and we're like, yo, one way to end that is to just end his income stream. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. So you just take out the income stream, and then the guy's going to run out of material. And then what you do is you find out who the local, suppliers are in that area, take them out. So then when you take out the money guy, he tries to go to other people, and they're already dead. So like he's by himself, and he can't make his weapons or whatever. You don't necessarily have to kill him. So like, Americans got to understand that. Like, the mentality of war is this. Same thing with the Israelis. Everybody, when you turn 18, you have to join the IDF. Mm-hmm. So if a person is 17, they're not a combatant, but then on their birthday they become a combatant. Does that make sense to you? Like, what are you going to do? So if people aren't familiarized with the horrors of what war actually is, our media then goes and says, look at this horrible thing that was done to these people. And Americans, especially, God bless Fox News watching Americans, but they're gullible enough to believe that we're the good guys. I was watching a thing a couple days ago when the guy goes, obviously we're the good guys. We were the greatest in World War II. I'm like, we were the greatest in World War II? Winston Churchill had nothing to do with it? It was Americans. Why? Because we dropped those atomic bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima when we really didn't need to, but we were trying to flex our muscles to the Russians because we were telling the Russians like that the world belongs to us after this. Mm. Like, there's just so much shit that your country does that you have to brainwash the populace, and the populace wants to be brainwashed. I
was going to say, there has to be elements of wanting to be brainwashed.
Because we want to be the top of the world. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
I was in an interview one time, and they said, why should we, blah, blah, blah. And I said, listen, I said, America is a ruthless country relative to our enemies. But if somebody's going to dominate the world, it's in the world's best interest that America dominates the world. And they took me! So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't see much hope aside from Jesus. I really, really don't. Mm-hmm. I love this song. This is my favorite song of the night. This is a 9.8 for me.
This is definitely a really good song, start to finish. I would give this one... I also think it was interesting how they relayed the history beautifully when it was sad. This is 9.2 for me. Song of the night was definitely the Dead Flowers for me.
It's not like we have a choice. All presidents are willing to get their hands dirty. No, my brother. No, all presidents are not willing to get their hands dirty, but they are willing to get your hands dirty.
Or your
and that's
sons.
the fucking problem. Well, Hunter doesn't have any sons.
Oh, we're talking to Hunter.
They're willing to get our hands dirty, believe me, but they're not willing to get theirs. Just not. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, most Americans are bought into the lie that no third party could possibly win. Their belief causes it to be true. 100%.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
If you're following Jill Stein right now, you'll see it. All these YouTube accounts, Sam Sater, all these fake progressives, they're telling everybody, vote Democrat, instead of vote for Jill Stein, who's an actual progressive. I don't even like all the shit Jill Stein says. But she's an actual progressive that has a viable opportunity of winning. But we're not gonna do it because she's not operating within the DNC. Okay. Well, Bernie tried that already, and you saw what happened.
I was gonna say, okay, there it goes.
It's insane.
Yeah,
it's insane. 9.8 for me. I love the song. The history is the history is what it is.
We went a little longer tonight. Apologies. But I mean, why should we apologize? You can always click off the video.
Right.
Shout out to our alliances, you guys. We got some fun stuff coming down the pike that Vinny announced earlier tonight.
Have a good day at work, controller.
Today, I believe we have a Revo stream, like later on today, because we are now...
We have a movie? Isn't that a movie?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm just going to double check that. But yeah, if you guys, don't forget, if you want to know what's going on, check out the post on Patreon. It should be pinned at the top. If not, scroll down a little bit and you'll see the October streams and it will tell you what is going on. But yeah, we have tonight, later on tonight, we have Director Revo at 10 p.m. That's the movie, what was it called? Paradise what? Revo, if you're still here, because I don't have it. Whoa, paradise. Something about a paradise. I can't remember. Anyway, so that movie is going to be going on tonight as well as 2 songs. So come through if you want. That's going to be at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, the name of the movie is Phantom of the Paradise.
Phantom of the Paradise. Not the opera.
We're getting chippy.
Yeah, we're getting chippy. It's time to go. Vin out!
Sorry out.